if you could tell me what stood out to me, and then maybe that part of my advocacy I can speak from, because without that, I'll just be here rambling the entire time, and I don't want to do that.
Yes, and I actually wanted to say, because we use the word sanity check in your little title in here, and I often said to myself, you know, is it true? Like, are we crazy? Especially right now, because when you and I were kind of going back and forth in our emails, one of the things that struck me was just the fact of communication. We are currently in an environment, I feel we're being held hostage, and whether we want to be isolated or we're just, now working at home. And so our dynamic, again, I only live with one person, but unfortunately, we had to put our cat down a couple of days ago. But up until then, we also were dealing with our cat who was very sick. So anyway, the point is that we're all now confined to one space. So just like Halima was saying, if you're in an environment where you have kids, or like me, if I'm with my mom or my boyfriend and the cat and all this stuff, what happens to communication there? Because I do feel like not only are we individually being spread very thin, but now we're kind of like always having to be working around someone else who wasn't really there to begin with. And so we were able to venture off and go to work, or, or that person was gone while I was home. And it just feels like maybe, I don't know what the statistics are, but we joke a lot about how we're going to be fit or fat by the time this is over, how we're going to be killing ourselves or killing others by the time this is over. And I want to be careful with people saying joking things about like that, because it's true. So how do you see communication changing in this time?
Right. What an excellent question. It hasn't
I
changed
know.
at all. The only thing that's different is that we're dealing with COVID-19. All this has done is reveal the underlying problems that people have already had, that they think you need to wait too long to go to therapy, because therapy is only for stuff in the past. And then you understand how people get so angry at these systems. Because so let me answer the first question that you asked. How has it changed? It hasn't. Everything is the same. Those problems were there before COVID-19. It's the same thing whenever they want to diagnose kids with ADHD, because they go from middle school to high school, or they go from high school to college. Yes, in high school, if you know how to just repeat back what someone says to you, you can make an A, right? It's not that at the end of the day, the way that we teach, it's not that difficult. But when that child makes that jump from high school to college, and there's actual consequences for not, that's not ADHD. That's me trying to adjust to a new environment. And so when I hear people say, well, man, everything was great until COVID started. No, it wasn't. You have no choice but to deal with COVID. That's the issue. You have no choice. It is in your face, and you can say it's a hoax. You can say it's not a hoax, but you got to make a choice. And so most people are and I don't mean, forget that. I'm tired of policing myself. Most people are in relationships that need to end. And so now what they see is, I'm either going to stay here or I'm going to leave. I'm either going to go out and act like it's 2019, or I'm going to stay in my house and quarantine. So this is about making a choice. The communication the problems have been there. You just got to deal with them, because you can't escape and go to work. You can't escape and go to school. You are dealing with your part, and nobody wants to do that. We all want to talk about all of these things that don't matter. People are dying in the world around. I feel like that guy, like back when we used to go outside in the street, I feel like the man with the sign saying the end is not, except now I do it with my YouTube channel. Like, wake up, folks, like it's not, so how do you have time to have communication problems like that in the world we're living in? What sort of privilege do you have to where you can have those sorts of issues, is what I would think, right? Because there are some people having conversations about, babe, I don't want you to go to work today because you're a frontline worker, and I'm afraid that when you come home, you're going to give X, Y, and Z coronavirus. So long story short, let me keep that in check, that energy. What happened to communication? Nothing. COVID has just made it clear that there are bigger problems. And if people wouldn't wait so damn long to go to therapy because they've been conditioned to believe that therapy is about the past from all this marketing, we wouldn't have near as many problems. And then we deal with racism, but I'm not trying to go there today. But anyway, that's my answer to the question.
And then racism. Well, this is why I'm pissed that I didn't find you sooner, and that I'm not mad because you took a vacation, you're allowed to, but I wish I would have gotten you in for a half an hour conversation, because I've been like binge watching your YouTube videos. But you're picking out a lot of scabs here. So I think for sure, thank you for bringing me out and making me mind my own words as well. Number two, I agree with that too. Like the quitting aspect, I think people are always so worried, but if it's not serving you, we're giving, like, we don't have to give you permission. Don't let that happen. And I think there's a lot of sensitivity going on in this world. So maybe we are kind of like at our wits' end, or we're afraid to say something. Um,
I mean, that's possibility. It's absolutely possible that, there are things. But the thing is, what I try to tell my clients when I'm doing couples therapy is that this did not just start. This
right.
did not just start. The only thing that is different is that you're dealing with a different issue. So you can take, and again, I'm not trying to be mean or rude. I want to be sensitive to people's issues, but you can delude yourself and say that it's because I'm tired, or because my head hurts, or because of things. Functionally, what is the thing that everybody in the house around communication decides not to talk about? And that's how I get into my advocacy with schizophrenia. There's so many things that we just don't discuss. And often when the one person in the family who is speaking out, when the one person in the family is saying what's going on, we label that person crazy. Oh, that's just that bipolar person running her mouth. Oh, she's just schizophrenic. Oh, she's just, and then you disqualify everything that they say. And so again, I hear what you're saying. And yes, there are factors that make it difficult for us to communicate, 100%. But those same factors that people focus on make it impossible to solve any problems, because no one wants to talk about what's really going on.
Can you explain a little bit more about what you were saying about the stuff in the past versus what is the direction? Are we looking at present or future, or?
Right. So from my point, the way I explain this to my clients is, I don't know if you play chess or not, but if I'm playing chess and or if I'm watching two people play chess and I come up on their game, chess, checkers, whatever it might be, but chess is the best analogy. If I walk up on their game, I don't, and I'm stealing this from a book. I know that some people say I don't create metaphors of my own, but I am stealing this because everything was stolen from me. So if I come up against some people playing chess, I don't need to know what moves they made in the past to see who's winning right now. The game as it is right now is enough of an explanation. I don't need to spend 1,000 years, but we can do that. At the end of the day, all this is about is getting, trust me. I'm up here, I can say, I could also get this straight. When I first was going to be a therapist, I thought that this was the voice that I needed to take with people, because my perspective was one that I need to make sure that I don't seem too upset, because I don't want people to think that I am bipolar. So long story short, yes, the past is important, but I mean, it just depends on how long you want your clients to be on your case. So, some people we do about, I think I can get 10 sessions out of them, 15 sessions out of them. So, we might use EFT or CBT. If I can just, change the words a little bit, I can sell it. It's just so ridiculous, man. People need to start telling the truth. The truth of the matter is 70% of the effectiveness of therapy is the relationship between you and the therapist. The rest of this stuff, 5% is luck, 5% is hope, and 10% is you might win the lottery this week. That's going to solve a lot of problems. I ain't had no clients do that yet, but that might solve a lot of them. So long story short, you just got to be careful where you point me at, Dina, because I don't want to burn nobody.
I was going to say, you have a lot of people on here who are health and wellness professionals, and a lot of us do deal with trying to monitor our tone and, being careful about compliance. And, but I know underlying, when I look at my forums, everybody's like, oh God, I can't stand that person who comes into my office once a week. She's not making any changes. So on the professionals end, right? Because we're talking about both professionals and the patient or the client, whatever. On the professionals end, how open can we be? And I mean, that's a silly question, because then it's just who's finding you, who's comfortable with having you.
I am this way because I work with advocates of people who go to bad therapists and go to bad clinicians. I get those folks, the people who have been told that they have diagnosis, the people who have had personality disorders added to their chart because their therapist got offended that their client called them on some BS. I work with people who have been to therapy as children and were identified as the identified patient, and the therapist, in their objectivity and wisdom, never thought to see if that person was in an abusive family. So I have very little patience. I have very little empathy. I'm sorry. I just have very little empathy for clinicians who forget the amount of privilege that they have and forget that the people are coming to you because they have problems. So how open can you be? How much have you dealt with your own BS? That's the answer to that question. How open can you be? Are you telling your client stories so that you can work through it, or have you already worked through your issues? I have a therapist on retainer for sure, but there are stories that I tell because we need to stop making our clients think that we're God. We're not. We have issues. Thank you so much, Dina, for opening up about your past suicide attempts. Good Lord, it hit me when you said it, and I just thought, man, why is that not normalized? Why is that not okay? Everybody in this room has thought about suicide at least once in their lives. And if we could just make it okay to talk about, if we would stop coming up to conversations and meetings and places with this stupid mask, it's so annoying. I see it, you see it, everybody sees it. No one is themselves. They're trying to put something together to be sold. So my last 2 minutes are up. I know how to wrap it up. I'm not selling anything. I'm not. I give away everything on my channel for free. As soon as I can figure out how to make it to where people can come up with their own theories so they can work all of us out of a job, I will do it. I'm working my hardest to put life coaches out of business, to put therapists out of business. I want to put everyone out of business because we need to stop treating people like they're children, man. Some of them are, and you're taking advantage of them when you do it. So excuse me, excuse my hype, but I've just been through this system. I am the result of working with a therapist who didn't know what they were doing. And it's time to wake up. It really is. We don't have time to play anymore. People need actual help. So thank you for this time that you gave me to basically go off for a minute. I apologize.
Don't
but
you
it just
dare
frustrates
apologize.
me, right? Because the right answer to that question is, well, you check with your ethical guidelines. Make sure that nothing that you give forward, you want to always make sure that, are you giving this in the best interest of your client? Like, I'm sick of being that person, man. I'm sick of it. Client, sorry, let me stop.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel like the way that you're sharing your story right now and giving us this information too is why I do believe it's so important to be your authentic self. Like, stop pretending to put on the facade of things. If people
and it's so obvious. The thing that gets me, Dina, it is so obvious when you're doing it. I can tell when you were putting up a front. I'm not crazy.
Right.
I can see that that's not who you really are. That'd be like me saying I'm not upset that I didn't get all my time. I'm just kidding. But then the jokes become serious, and
right.
the things that are serious becomes jokes. Bro, this is what true empathy and vulnerability feels like. I see you up there, Yasmin. I see you, Anita. I see your faces. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm better than everybody. I was over here doing other stuff too. That's my video game thing back there. And I definitely, absolutely played a game for a minute. I am so sorry, shaming myself. But bro, we are not gonna change anything lying, just lying. Anyway, that's my time. You can follow me at the situational therapist.
Oh my God.
I don't really to sell you. I don't have nothing to give you. If you need help, if you need help with anti-racism training and coaching, I'll do it for you. I'll charge you then, but I'm not about to charge you for stuff that should be for free, bro. We all need to have much better parents than what we had, so I'm trying to parent the world. It's nice to meet all y'all.
Oh man, Derrick, I need you to come back and do an hour show. I'm going to do this
I got
weekly.
you, boss. 100%, 100%. I was on vacation for sure. Whenever I got that email, I was like, she gonna wait. She finna wait. She finna wait. And if I just get 5 minutes, I'll take them. But absolutely, I was sipping Mai Tais in my own front room because I ain't go nowhere because I got a heart. But anyway.
I love it. And I'm so glad. Listen, like I said to you, quality versus quantity, whatever. We'll catch you on another time. But I so appreciate this because, you know, we've had a bunch of high and lows, and Kalima, you're going to be up next. I know. No, wait. Yes. Kalima's going up next. We've had some highs and lows here. We've been meditative. We worked out. We got the brain going. We got the heart going. I think we need to hear this. I think we need to shake shit up. I'm sorry, Ma. We got to shake shit up. So thank you for shaking it up for us, Derrick. And I cannot wait for some other part 2 of this conversation to go on. And until then, there's all your information. Find him online, binge watch all of YouTube
Dina, can I just say, Derrick, thank you for I really appreciate your transparency and honesty. Your energy is so powerful. And
thank you. I really appreciate it. I wouldn't have it if
I could feel it. I could feel it through the on this side. Keep that energy. Don't give it up. And I'm just, glad that you were here. Thank you.
It's meant to be. There's no such thing as coincidence. Everybody knows this.
That's right. Meant to be.
Everybody knows this. There's no such thing as coincidence. I have hand selected for you a variety of people that I know we're going to deliver, and I didn't even meet half of them. So thank you. Thank you. And you're welcome.